Hello. Hi, Valerie.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone. It's the 18th of September, 2020, and we are here for our monthly new moon reading. And what a month it has been. It is a new moon in Virgo. And don't get me started because I could go on about Virgo all day. I have 7 planets in Virgo, so like I'm a big fan of Virgo. How could I not be, right? But it's connected with healing, a lot to do with healing. And I know that a lot of the time Virgo is seen as the virginal sign, the sort of uptight, prudish sign. But the thing that resonates more with me is a woman unto herself. So it's like this idea of being self-contained, of being very independent, of caring for all aspects of the whole being. That feels a lot more connected with that. So I would say going forward in this new moon to really focus on healing in a very holistic, very all aspects of our being. Would you like to say anything about Virgo or the new moon?
No, other than that I paid attention and I do know it's in Virgo this month. So
Okay.
it's yay me.
All right. So
And it's an earth sign, right?
it
So
is
really
very,
connected
yes,
to earth,
very much
right?
connected to the
So
earth,
yeah.
to yes, material realm. And it's also ruled by Mercury. So it's a very like deep thinker. Yeah. All right. So I'm using this month, I am using the Animal Spirit Oracle, Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reid, and the Good Tarot, 2 of my usual decks. I'm just using 2. And I'm going to pull 2 animals as the theme because I don't have my Gaia Earth Oracle. And then I'm going to use tarot for the rest of the month. So it's just because it's Virgo and I love Virgo, so I'm doing a little bit extra theme.
That's okay. Well, and I'm going to pull my theme card from Soulful Woman. Seems kind of feminine and Virgo-ish.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
So that'll be my theme. And then I'm going to pull the other 4 from the Akashic Tarot.
Okay. Sounds fabulous.
All righty. Whip them out. Whip them out.
Very interesting. Wow. So, would you
You
like
go
to?
first, Miss
Oh,
Virgo. Go ahead.
okay. Thank you. So, as I said, I pulled 2 theme cards, and of the whole deck of 70 something cards, the 2 that came up were the ones that are right next to each other, 38 and 39, which I think is quite interesting. And it's difficult to tell in the light here, but they both have similar coloring. I know there's a lot of green here, but what I'm really feeling is this red. So there is this sense of getting into the lower chakras and really, really grounding into this. Okay, that makes a lot of sense actually, because it's about grounding into this the new earth, right? There's been all this chaos swirling around, pulling us out of our bodies and into our heads. Like, how do we manage this? But we're not trying to do it from a rational perspective. So it's about pulling it all down into the earth now. So the numbers 38 breaks down to 11, and 39 breaks down to 12. So that's 2 and 3. Lizard Spirit says dream the world into being, and Moth Spirit says surrender now. And I love how those 2 work together, because it's that concept of manifestation. So when you want to dream something into being, when you want to manifest something, you envision how you want it to feel. You envision what you want to bring into being, and then you surrender the how. So that's what this feels like. You cannot force the dream to become what you want it to be. You offer it up to spirit, and you let the how arrive. It's beautiful.
Yes, because it can be better than we ever imagine. If we surrender, let it be.
Exactly. Yeah. It does feel, though, that it may not be smooth. It feels fiery.
Mm-hmm.
And to just remember this part, especially the surrender. Don't fight. Drop the resistance. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all.
I have to pause one moment. My dog wants in. One moment, please.
Okay, I'll pause. There we are.
Thank
We're
you.
back. So Gracie has Valerie very well trained.
Yes.
All right.
Well, and it's interesting now because my theme card is number 20,
Another 2.
and it's enlightenment power.
It's beautiful.
And so she's at rest, which kind of goes along with yours. So she's at rest, she's in meditation, she's allowing the enlightenment to fill her and empower her. And the words at the bottom say, I am a woman choosing the power of my own consciousness as a vehicle for my growth.
Huh.
So it's about going within and finding your power within.
Yeah. I'm really getting a sense of this, like I'm being almost overwhelmed, like a real wave of energy coming from behind me, but the sense of really, it's almost like the time for action is not yet, because our instinct would be to act from the old, and
Oh,
we're
exactly.
not meant to. So that's why, like, she's in surrender, she's in meditation, the moth is in surrender. It's about dreaming the world into being at this point, but really holding those dreams with reverence, giving them space to be sown into the new earth, because we're entering the time of the divine feminine, where things are, the way of being is shifting. So we're still holding space for the change. We're still in the process of change. It feels like the message feels really urgent right now, and I don't mean it to feel like frightening urgent. It's just like, it's almost like it won't stop speaking to me. So I'll try and shut up now.
Well, it's okay. And there's so many changes in it, and it's understanding that the power is in embracing the differences and embracing everything, whether we perceive it as good or bad, because it's all part of the shift. And the more we can gain some perspective and go inside for our own information and sense of security, I guess, we'll navigate through this a little easier.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, excuse me, my throat's gurgling.
Because even to nature isn't kind or beautiful, pretty all the time.
No,
There's
that's right.
fire and there's death, and nature takes care of itself, and there's elimination of species during earth changes and stuff, and humans have tried to control all that.
Yeah.
To the detriment of our world, and us just being here creates a change. So
Yeah.
it's learning to understand that change sometimes is painful, and sometimes there's loss, and it's just all part of it. So,
Yeah.
and that's what we're going through.
Yeah. And also, like, as you were talking, understanding, like what you're saying too, is this is not weakness and this is not passivity. This is immense power. There is humongous power in this process of surrender, because you're holding space for the vision, you're holding space for the new, but you're not acting out of resistance to the forces of change that are whirling around you. You are, it's like you're standing in a fire, just walking through it and not letting the flames touch you. So there's this sense of remaining really firm in your alignment in
Well,
with
when you
that
said
power.
whirling, that's the thing too. Chaos is, that's just, you know, the world is chaos. I mean, the existence, the movement in creation is perceived as chaos. And when you said whirling, the center of any whirling is where the calm place
That's
is.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
be that metal contraption we played on as kids where we spun and spun and spun, and if you were out on the edge you got flung off, but if you sat in the middle you just went for a nice ride, you
Yeah,
know.
those
And
are so fun. Yeah.
that's the way, you know, any vortex is. So the
Yeah.
more we center ourselves, surrender to all that's going on around us, and just keep the dream alive, the lizard, just keep the dream alive for where we're heading, it'll be easier. It'll
Yeah.
be a more enjoyable ride than being out there being flung around and trying to get back on and being flung off again and cut and bleeding and
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So yeah, but it
Yeah.
comes down to choices. It really does. It really comes down to choices and not letting outside influences make those choices for us.
That's right. And also to, like, letting go of the idea, like, it's a hard concept to get your mind around when you're so used to the idea of doing as a forceful, active, external thing. But holding space is doing. Being is doing. Holding the energy of love and peace and compassion and acceptance is doing, but it's not an active doing, right? So it's hard to get that balance. It's not passivity when your focus is aligned, right? It's only passivity if you're trying to zone out or drown your sorrows in something or you know, avoid it. But when you're focused, when you have your attention on whatever it is you're doing, even if it doesn't feel like doing, um, it's that energetic attention. So it shifts worlds.
Well, right. And then by going within too, if you've been focused on outside things too much, you release that tension.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it gives room for it to move in. So,
Wow. Cool. So those were just our theme cards. Like, barely started. Yeah.
well, let's move on.
Okay. So the one interesting thing I saw, I turned them all over this month. Sometimes I leave them face down, but I have one of each suit. So it's interesting that I was talking about Virgo as the healer that, you know, is that holistic, every aspect of our being. And we've got all the suits covered here. So I thought that was just something to think about. So it's emotions, physical, mental, and etheric bodies. You could see it that way. Anyway, that was just something I wanted to mention. But so heading into week 1, what's your first card there?
I have 6 of Horses, Waterfall.
Oh, lovely.
and this card to me, and sixes have been showing up a lot, and sixes look a little unbalanced, but I always feel like they're rocking me into the new, the six.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the waterfall is about kind of like what we've been talking about. It's letting all of the energy flow into us, and then the pool is gentle and reflect on all this energy and information that we're getting, but then to float in this information, float in this pool of energy, cleansing, allow it to cleanse us. And so this week to me is kind of like a little bit of a receiving, and then sitting with the information, kind of perking, the whole being thing like we just talked about. Because a waterfall, you're not going to swim up the waterfall. I mean, you're not going to stop yourself going down the waterfall. So it's about surrendering to the flow, and then reflecting, floating in that information, and the strength of, and the cleansing, and the cleansing, and let it just float in it. Let it carry you for a while.
Yeah, let it wash over you and give you whatever information. Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
I like the balance of that card too. Like it, the waterfall comes right down the middle, and it somehow looks very balanced.
Right.
We may be joined by a cat in a second. He's looking like he wants to jump up. So just a warning there. I'm house sitting at the moment. So my first card is the Seven of Water. And again, this is that kind of, look how surrendered she looks there. And she's just watching these go by. So these are all the choices that are appearing. And, in the old way, it would be like grab one, jump on it, and go. But she's sitting there. So there's this sense of, sevens are also about mastery. So it's coming to this idea of mastery. This could be seen as chaotic. There are too many choices. I don't know what to do. But let's just say she's not being passive. She is surrendering and observing and weighing the options, letting them incorporate into her being. And then when it's time, we will know, and then it's time to choose.
Exactly.
And it's all underwater. So, I mean, water is the realm of emotions, and you had the watery card too. So it's like this first week going in may feel like the chaos comes up around the emotional side. It may feel like, oh, it's so overwhelming, I don't know what to do. And then that's when sometimes people shut down and say, I'm overwhelmed with emotion, I don't know what to choose. Well, surrender to it. So what? Just let it be, right? Processing emotion is doing.
Right.
All the things we were taught is not doing. It is doing. Yeah. Right.
So for the second week, I have the King of Roses.
Oh, cool.
And I always, I don't remember.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I'm non-traditional, so
Yeah,
I forget
true.
which
Yeah.
one goes with what, which is a non-traditional deck here. So anyway, but he's the king, but he's not off doing kingly stuff. He's not riding his kingdom. He's standing there contemplating a red and a white rose, which is differences to me. It's appreciating the differences between the red and the white and seeing the beauty in both. And then all the yellow roses around in this card signify healing, a lot of healing going on. So he's standing and in this beautiful bed of yellow roses and just, allowing the healing to happen. It's contemplation of the differences and appreciating the beauty in them. So that seems like the theme for the second week, according to my card, is to just appreciate the differences and allow the healing to happen in that appreciation of the differences, because that's the way the world rock and rolls. And until we learn as a collective to appreciate all the differences that exist in humanity and allow them to be, and appreciate all of that, the healing begins.
Yeah. It's yeah. It's fascinating because I got a king as well, king of earth. So it seemed to be going on the, the theme is very much we're following one another's energy there. I love this king in this deck. For me, he just looks so kind, but he also looks very, very tired. And to me, this speaks of that idea of where all of us as a collective, the masculine aspect of ourselves that has been fighting for so long and doing and competing and, feeling like we are somehow against the world, like that's where this comes in really strong and says surrender. We can drop that burden now, and it's time to support the healing of the masculine within ourselves and within others and within the collective, because we've spent a good number of years healing different aspects of the feminine, and it's really time to allow for this to come forth now too. To have compassion for this part of ourselves that is so hurt and tired.
When I see him too as wise, and so embrace the wisdom that the masculine brings, the energy that the masculine energy brings.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to also allow it to take a rest, take a break.
Yeah.
Take a break. And I know, speaking for my own relationship, my man is tired.
Yeah.
He's tired, and I think that's why so many of us feel tired, even females, is we're, just this balancing of the masculine and feminine and all that is energetically exhausting. So
it is. And I mean, if you think about, like, the masculine represents the rational, active aspect of ourselves. So if we go through the world constantly rationalizing things, that is the masculine aspect of ourselves that is exhausted. And there are some things you can't rationalize, like this recent pandemic. How do you rationalize that? You can look at the science, you can look at the facts, but there's still the underlying energy behind it cannot be rationalized in any way. So again, that's where this idea of the surrender comes in. It's like it's time to really give this a rest. And like you say, honor the wisdom, but like marry the head with the heart, let both speak. Yeah. So it sounds like it's it's lecture night tonight. There's some really, I know what it is. There's something going on with Mars, isn't there, for a couple of months? It feels like it's got this power behind it that in past months it's been a little la la la, but this week it's like rah rah. Okay. Wants to speak. Right. Moving on into the third week.
you go.
Okay. I've got the Two of Air. This one I love. Like, again, very, very surrendered. In the traditional deck, it would be the Two of Swords, and it's about making a choice. But in this deck, there's an energy to it that makes me feel like she's dancing with the choices. She's got a little bird on each hand. So it doesn't have to be a difficult choice. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you better choose one or the other. It's like, why don't I just dance with these choices? So that sort of speaks to this as well. Look at all these choices. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be, holy crap, I choose this or I choose that. If I choose the wrong one, I die. Like, it's not like that. She's like, okay, I'll try this one for a while. If I don't like it, I'll dance with this choice. So there's a fluidity and a sensuousness to it, that choice can be can be delightful and easy, joyful. And
Which is the life I'm dreaming into being. You know, we want
yeah,
it to be more joyful.
exactly. And also, it takes time. Things take time. Like to me, this feels like a very slow dance. You don't have to choose and then charge off like a, oh, I got to get on that horse. And like it can be, let's just take it slow.
Well, keep your card up. This makes me laugh
Okay.
because my card's the Queen of Keys. So now we have the Queen of the Kingdom, and look
Yeah.
at her. She's at rest. She's empowered.
Yeah.
She's just overlooking the beauty of her kingdom, and she has a book in her hand. I mean, here again, it's
Yeah.
the choice to look at the expansive beauty or to pick up the book and learn some more or do whatever she's doing. But again, it's just such a relaxed. She's got such a look of enjoyment on her face.
Yeah. Yeah. That looks like
So
where I'm staying in the country. It's beautiful.
so yeah, so it's about just knowing that you have everything you need right now, and to just see the beauty in the world around you, and not overcomplicate life with the choices that you might be faced with. Dance with them and have some fun.
Yeah.
Have some fun with the choices.
Yeah.
We get so wah about it, and I don't know, maybe that's just my own interpretation, but sometimes the masculine side is like, I've got to make the choices, and women are kind of like, oh, whatever feels good will be the good choice. And I think that's, kind of finding the balance is
Yeah.
connecting to the intuitive. And back in the day, women used to be a little better about taking some downtime, and men have a harder time with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. That idea of always producing.
but I find it interesting that I've had two cards where both of them are, at rest and in contemplation.
Yeah. The king and the queen both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
as you were talking to another understanding around these cards and the ones you had are coming up. As we shift into the new, it's not just old ideas that are shifting. The timelines are shifting, or the way that we interact with time is also shifting. So it's no longer as linear as it used to be. And that's why this is really important, because it used to be that you knew what you wanted, and then there was a specific trajectory you went on, and it was very linear. It's no longer going to feel as linear. So if you make a choice and then you think it's the wrong choice, go dance with another choice. It's not like, oh God, my whole life is falling apart because I made the wrong choice there, and then I had to do this, and now I have to go back and try again. It's not going to feel like that heaviness, because it's like you just bounce on to the next thing. And maybe that sounds flaky from the perspective of the old, but it's more an understanding of like the quantum interaction of time and of energy. So it's
well,
we're
that's the
definitely,
understanding I've gotten too, is it's like, yet again, it's like coming from think of a child in the new, it's bouncing around and they try something, ow, that hurts, off they go. They don't go, woo,
try
they
something
might for a
else.
minute. Yeah, but they only go, woo, usually because someone's reacted, usually they
Yeah.
go, oh, that was an interesting experience. Let's go to the next one. And I really feel like that's where we're heading,
Yeah.
is because it's about the experiencing. And if we stay with one decision forever and ever and ever, you're missing out on that experience and that experience and that experience. And it used to be considered flaky because it was a more feminine way of being. That's my perception of
Right. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's like we used to be like, you can't make a decision, or you just can't stay with anything, and you're this and you're that. Well, no, that's called enjoying life.
Yeah.
It's called
Tasting.
enjoying life. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's about having experiences that make your heart sing and fill you with light. And when we can all collectively get to that, and share and reap the benefits from all of our differences and how we do things differently, we're going to be so much happier.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I'm just going to pause for 1 second because the light is fading. I'm going to turn a light on here. Excuse
Okay.
me. Thank you. I'm back. Right.
So for the last week, now the 4th week,
Yep.
I have 7 of Forces,
Oh,
and it's all about balance.
wow. Yeah.
So here we have allowing, receiving, appreciating, and it's again just finding the balance between the doing and the being. There seems to be quite the strong theme going this month.
Definitely. And it's a 10 month. We're heading into October, and 10 is it's like an ending and a beginning all rolled into one. So it's like we're beginning to sew up all of this that we've been through this year, which is, hopefully.
Yeah, and the person isn't at the desk. I mean, the work's been done. I see this, kind of to what we were talking about. The work's been done.
Yeah.
The scales are pretty even. They're empty, but there's the light. The light and the beautiful day is beckoned, and this person had the sense and the balance for their life to go out into the light and have fun.
Yeah.
They're out there having fun. So that's the balance in life. There's the doing, and then there's the having the fun. So
It's really interesting, isn't it? The message this
mm-hmm.
month. And I mean, the fact that I had one of each suit, that's balance right there. It's fascinating. I love too. You started with a 6 and I started with a 7, and I'm ending with a 6 and you end with a 7.
Well, there we
There's
go.
more balance there.
And when I first looked at mine, when I first was laying them down, I thought I was going to get one of every suit, which is fascinating to me. But then the interesting thing too about mine in the tarot, it's 6 and 7. They follow. So.
Oh, right. Of the same suit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like you started with. So I love patterns. It's
yeah,
fascinating.
I know. It feels like a lot of patterns and balance, and real balance between feminine and masculine we've had. A nice. So this one is the 6 of Fire. And this is again to me about, when I was talking about hold your alignment, it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing in their balloons. Just focus on where you want to get to, what you want to do. Bring your dreams, dream your world into being. So, we've been taught that it's selfish to focus on yourself, your own healing, your own self-care, all of these things. But actually, it's really vital right now, especially right now with all the chaos. And when we go through changes, to understand that whatever way works for you is the way that you need to focus on. You can't listen to how other people are telling you. You need to navigate this change, because the change, we're each going through the change individually, and we're going through it as a collective. So we've got that in mind. But whichever way is the most conducive to our well-being is also the best for the well-being of all.
Well, the thing I love about this card too is, again, it's about surrendering, because how many ships do you ever see carried along in the air by a balloon? So to me, that just is an illustration of there's always another way, and spirit or the universe is gonna, lift us up and get us where we're heading, whether we understand it or not.
That's right. And also, I mean, hot air balloons in general, like you can't really control where they go. They just follow the wind. So, it's again, surrender.
And a ship, much the same, especially that old ship, it was all dependent on wind. So yet again, the whole concept of the card is even the fires of life, you have to surrender. And and you don't have to surrender, but when you do surrender, you're deposited in surprising new experiences,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, wow, what a reading. That was really some powerful stuff coming through. Well, I guess that's all we have. Is there anything more you wanted to add or anything that's come up? No?
No, it's I just really feel like it is the shifting and the upheaval isn't done, and though we're probably nearing the end of the worst part, we can hope. But my sense for this month is to just focus on, aligning and appreciating, the inner power, and just surrendering to yourself, your inner knowing, and to spirit. That's kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, pretty much the entire month, it's not, here and there by the time you get through the end of it. So,
And the one thing I do see in my cards is, oops, I'm going to try and hold them up, is quite a lot of red and orange, which speaks to the lower chakras. So stay grounded, work on being in your body in whatever ways that shows up for you, and be on the earth, allow yourself to be with the earth, on the earth, of the earth. Like it just feels really important.
I'm being called to share one thing I learned, because humans are very fiery right now, and we perceive, if you're aware of chakras at all, we perceive the lower chakras as being hot and fiery colors. And so if you are familiar with chakras and you do chakra meditations or chakra healing, to imagine those colors inside of a cool crystal, or a cool, I was going to say ice cube, but they melt, but something cool, and allow that color to be cooled down when you put it into your lower chakras. Allow it to be a cooler version, and it'll help a lot of us calm down this upheaval and this fiery, aggressive energy that a lot are experiencing right now.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's great. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense too, because we don't need any more aggression. I mean, it's the way it comes out sometimes. If we've been repressing emotions for years and years, sometimes it comes out as anger. So we just have to, that's part of the holding space. Let other people be angry and don't be drawn into it. Just keep visioning the new.
yeah, it's okay, we've got to feel the emotions, but it's like they don't have to inflict harm.
No,
So
exactly.
by
Yeah.
cooling them down enough that we can even look at them and not go out with a flamethrower,
Yeah.
it's going to be healthier for us and our world. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, it was
Okay.
lovely, as always, to see you, Valerie.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you next month.
Next month.